What is up, Cleveland Browns fans? It's your old friend IndyCar Tim here with the Cleveland Brown Daily Blitz for today. Welcome into the show. Welcome into the network here on FanStream Sports. Make sure you check us out, fanstreamsports.com. We got a mobile app, downloadable for Apple, for Android. Also, FanStream Sports TV, our YouTube channel. Go check us out over there. Not a happy day in Cleveland Browns football land. Kind of a shellacking at the hands of the resurgent Washington Commanders on Sunday. 4-1 go the Commanders, 1-4 fall the Browns, and really just nothing going right, in the world of Cleveland football right now. And it's, if you want to put your finger on one thing, put your finger on all of the injuries that the Browns have right now. And I know, every team deals with injuries. It seems like this year there's just a ton of injuries happening around the league today in this season this year. But for some reason the Browns seem to be even more affected, of course, at key positions along the offensive line. We suffered some defensive injuries yesterday. We'll get into that a little bit. But as far as the game goes yesterday, 34-13, the Commanders win their fourth in a row. The Browns lose their third in a row. Rookie phenom Jayden Daniels shook off an early interception at the goal line that really we thought were going to kick things off in the positive direction for the Browns. But he was unfazed. It was more like it was his 50th NFL game, not his 5th NFL game. Daniels just sort of shows a poise out there that you don't see from most rookie quarterbacks, even from the good ones. And he looks like he may be the best, at least early on, the best-looking rookie quarterback out of this year's draft class. And, things up in Chicago seem to be moving better along than I thought they would be with Caleb Williams, but we'll readdress that at another time. But Daniels and the Commanders, again, win their fourth straight. Jayden Daniels had nearly as many incompletions as the previous 3 games combined, but he also carried the ball for 82 rushing yards and then the longest touchdown pass of his career. He was 14-25 for 328 yards. He did make some bad throws, but the Browns defense did not make him pay for any other than that early interception. It's bad. The Browns allowed 211 total yards on the ground on just 31 carries. Brian Robinson Jr. had 2 touchdowns. Jeremy McNichols had a touchdown in a game that was so lopsided that fans in Washington were doing the wave with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. They were already bored. And the Commanders' defense had a lot to do with that. Deshaun Watson still just looks horrible, and I don't understand it. Along with the injuries, Watson is one of the biggest stories, maybe the biggest story for the Browns this year. Just has not put a full game together. He's had a couple of good quarters, but has not been able to put a full game together. Watson had a fumble. He was sacked 7 times. And the Browns had just 212 total yards of offense. I mean, it's horrible. Watson hasn't thrown for 200 yards in a game this season yet. 15-28 for 125 yards. He did have the late touchdown pass to Jordan Akins, but the game was already way out of reach by then. So call it a garbage touchdown. I mean, it still counts, but Jameis Winston made an appearance in the game, which made a few people scratch their heads and say, oh, are we finally doing this? But no, it's not to be. As after the game, Stefanski said, they are not changing quarterbacks. He said, quote, "We need to play better. This is not a one-person issue on offense," end quote. And he's right. He's absolutely right. But it just looks, it's a bad look. You had some injury scares during the game, in addition to the injuries you already had and the players that were out during the game. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was the Browns' most impactful player before he started cramping in the third quarter. But he really didn't play very well the rest of the game. Denzel Ward and Charlie Hughlett, the long snapper, were ruled out early in the second half, so you lose Ward. Grant Delpit was evaluated for a head injury after going down in the third quarter. You lose your center, who's already your backup center, who just walked directly to the locker room after getting hurt there in the fourth with a knee injury. Tight end David Njoku had a 14-yard catch in his return from his 3-game absence because of a high ankle sprain. He's still not 100%, but he looks like he's on the mend, so hopefully we'll be getting him back soon. But, man, all in all, just the injuries continue, and that's one of the most mind-boggling, just most frustrating things to deal with as a team and as fans, because you can't stop it. That's just part of the game, right? Yes, you can have more conditioning, you can have better training, but you know what? With the way the league is set up these days, with the NFL Players Association and the collective bargaining agreement, every time they negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement, it seems like they take practice time away from the players, or they make it easier practice time. Did you know that teams can't even tackle in practice anymore? It's ridiculous. Conditioning these days for pro athletes, no, look at me. I've never been a pro athlete, okay? Not far from it. But I can speak on conditioning, and I can speak on the difference, because these are just facts, the difference between 30 years ago or 20 years before that, and just progressively through the generations of the NFL's existence. Conditioning and workouts and practice, they've changed. And yes, there is a limit for the human body. I get it. There's safety concerns. I get it. And all of those are very valid points. But for injuries like these to be suffered so early in the season, in mass, like, it's just, again, not just the Browns, they're everywhere. It just seems like there's something missing in the conditioning and training and practice during the off seasons. Maybe chalk some of that up to preseason football and players not even playing hardly anymore in the preseason, so which will probably go away soon. Stay tuned for that. But anyway, it's mind-boggling. It's frustrating. It's there's just not a lot you can say about it. Watson needs to play better, for sure. I feel like coaching could be better. Play calling was questionable, especially when you have a struggling quarterback. You weren't going to be able to run the ball very well. Nick Chubb is right around the corner, but he's not going to be able to do a ton behind this makeshift offensive line. So until guys start to get healthy, the coaches are going to have to be a little more creative. Ken Dorsey, you're going to have to be a little more creative with your play designs. You need to cater to your strengths here. And what are those? I don't know. I'll be real honest. I don't know what the offensive strengths are right now, but you need to figure it out. So that's the way it goes. Coming up next week, the Browns at the Eagles. So it doesn't get any easier. The Eagles aren't perfect. They're struggling this year as well. So maybe an opportunity there. Let's get some guys healthy. Let's get Watson back out on the field. See what he can do here in week 6 coming up, and see how that goes. We'll talk about the Eagles and the Browns a little bit later in the week, boys and girls, and preview that matchup for you. And until then, we'll see you.